Welcome back to Ask the Experts. This is our program where we take your questions, fan them out to our experts across the fruited plain, and get good answers for you to help you in your work. For this particular session, we are going to continue our last episode focused on credit reports and drill down into some more details about it. Jan Minetti, my colleague who's been with us for 35 years, knows everything about this kind of project. And so I'm glad to have her here to help us. And so Jan, let's get back at this. One of the questions we've had is, how do I decide on which credit report is best for my company?
So when you ask which credit report, are you referring to different bureaus, or are you referring to which report within the bureau? Because there's different.
I think what I'm referring to is ultimately, I need credit reports. I don't know what's going to work best for me. So NACM, you've always been helpful to me. How can you help me figure out what I'm supposed to do?
Okay, so what I would normally do on somebody who didn't really have the knowledge is I would meet with them. And this is what I recommend, is that people call us, because then we can really sit down and say, okay, here's what you're doing. So there's different bureaus out there. We represent almost all of them. So that's actually a huge bonus to you guys or to our clients. And because we can actually look and say, okay, give us 5 or 10 accounts. We'll do a study on them. We'll pull up reports from all the different bureaus. We can see where the most data lies for your industry, for the size of business. But one of the main things is, in the past, what I've seen is certain bureaus offer different size reports, like a small 1-pager all the way up to a really detailed report. So when you ask, how do I decide which report is best, if you're looking at not necessarily bureaus, but you're trying to figure out which credit report, that's a really easy way to look at it too. We'll look at the size of the balance that's coming in. We'll look at the reason for pulling the report. Are you pulling it to do open a brand new account? Or are you pulling just to check and see if they are still doing okay? So there's a lot of different reports out there and different bureaus to choose from that we actually offer, which is unique to the NACMs. We have the ability to look at all of them. We don't have to try and push you towards one or the other. We actually will be very consultative on what we believe it would be best for your business.
Well, and so that leads to the next question that another person has asked. Some reports seem expensive, some seem really inexpensive. How do I choose?
So I'm a firm believer that you never go with the cheapest, right? Because that's usually problematic. There's a reason it's the cheapest report. And everything is different. When you look at expensive versus not expensive, I mean, there's a moderate price, right? Everybody's looking for a moderate price, which we would go by how many reports do you need a year, blah, blah, blah. But we'd also look at, what's the size of the invoice? If the invoice that you're selling or your credit limit's $100,000 and the report is, let's say on the high end, $40, $40 to protect $100,000 or even $10,000 is well worth it. So I don't really believe that some reports are expensive. Makes a lot of sense when you're trying to protect your AR.
Yeah, so. And really, in many ways, it comes down to you get what you pay for too.
You absolutely get what you pay for. And like the $40 median was, I mean, there's a lot of reports that are, we sell reports that are less expensive through all the bureaus. But when you threw out the reports are expensive, I'm assuming those are people who are looking at $40-ish. And obviously they can go a lot lower. We would work with you on that as well, and it would depend upon your needs. But yeah, I think that protecting your bottom line, and especially with what we're seeing coming up in the future, it's going to be worth it in the long run.
Yeah. Earlier you were talking about portfolio scoring, and that's one of, I guess that's not necessarily new, but the mainline bureaus are offering a lot of new programs and new opportunities and new ways to protect your business. And so why don't you talk a little bit about that before we go?
Okay. Portfolio scoring is actually, it's been around for a long time, and we actually have customers that utilize it. And they use it used to be the more sophisticated clients, people who had really big accounts, they had a lot of ways to manage it. That's what they would utilize. But I actually think it works for any size company. And what it does is you can score your portfolio. You can choose to score your entire portfolio, or you can choose to score people with only a balance of $1,000 with you or higher. There's a lot of ways to predict, to whittle it down if you want to do that. But what you're doing with portfolio scoring is you're not being reactive, you're being proactive. You're being notified. You can do it monthly, most people do it quarterly. Some people do it biannually, and some people do it annually. But at least you're getting the data, you're seeing the problems. It shows you a lot of different things, and it gives you a quick synopsis of it. So it's a less expensive way to check on a lot of clients at one time and be informed as to what's happening with them. So rather than going and pulling a full report and pull, let's say you have 1,000 customers, that's a lot of man hours to pull 1,000 business reports.
Yes.
For 1,000 portfolio job for 1,000 accounts, it can be done fairly quickly, and it returns to you, and you can manipulate the data and look at it and kind of react to or look at, okay, these are our customers, they owe us a lot of money and their scores are way out. We're really, really low. We're really concerned about this. It's just pushing the information to you in that aspect. So it's a great way to know what's happening prior to it happening to you, hopefully.
Anything else you have to offer about some of the services that are available these days?
Well, one of the things I did touch on was alerts, and alerts are something that where you set up your accounts to be monitored, and Experian or DMB or any of the bureaus out there will monitor them for you. And what happens is if anything happens, and you kind of get to pick what you want to be monitored, what you want monitored on your customers, you can say, I want to know bankruptcies, judgments, tax liens. I only care about them if they're over this threshold, whatever. But basically it's pushing it to you. And they're real-time alerts, meaning if it happens today, you find out about it today. Unlike a credit report that, once you pull it, you don't have the data, you've looked at it, it's gone. They're not going to push that to you. And even portfolio scoring. If you look at it today and tomorrow they file bankruptcy, well, hopefully you would know about that, but maybe a tax lien or something, you won't know about it till you score again or pull a report. So alerts push that data to you. They say, okay, there was a tax lien for this amount. It even tells you who filed the tax lien on them, which then you can go further if you want, or just make it knowledge for your to keep in your quill of stuff. You can say, okay, they have a tax lien, we know it's for X amount, or they have a judgment for this amount. So it's just a way for, again, to be proactive with your customers and stay on top of them, have the data pushed to you so you don't have to actually go out and look for it. It's huge time savings, and it's really eye-opening for people.
Terrific. So there's a lot to credit reporting, and I urge you to take advantage of, as Jan called it, our consulting side, by either calling her or Jamie Gibson, our other AE. Both of them have been with us a long time. They know the ins and outs of this business. They're here to help. And that's what your NACM membership's all about. We want you to be educated and well-positioned to serve your company and do the best you can. So don't hesitate to call. Doesn't cost anything to call us, and we're happy to help you at any time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And so if you have a question for the experts, go to our website, nacmbcs.org, and click on Ask the Experts. You can fill it out, and you'll usually get an answer within about 24 hours by email. And then we take some of those questions and bring them forward to this forum. So take advantage of that service as well. And those are held on our website. So you can always go back and refer back to some of the things we've talked about in the past. With that, go ahead.
Our contact information is on our website too. So if you need to get Jamie and I and you don't have our contact information, you can go into the contacts and our emails are attached.
Correct. So, and I'll actually add a screen to the end of this with their contact information as well. So with that, thank you for joining us for Ask the Experts. We will see you next time here.
Thank you.